Now, you might have seen the popular political campaigner and civil rights activist Aisha Yesufu on this program on Wednesday. While she received overwhelming praise for her forthrightness, she's also come under criticism for what some say were the contradictions that emerged from her interview, especially the part where she talked about supporting a candidate, but not their party. The question was asked, can a good candidate emerge from a party that lacks internal democracy and ethics? How can she ignore a party that is sick and focus instead on the candidate? Given that the party is the platform that recruits the leadership candidate, shouldn't the greater responsibility of the political campaigner be to make the parties more credible? But the man who raised questions about what he considers to be the contradictions in her assertions is the political commentator, former Edo State Commissioner of Information and former Edo State governorship aspirant, Prince Kassim Afegbua, and he joins me in the studio now. Good to see you, Prince.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. It's not entirely fair on Aisha that we haven't actually heard the clip where she was talking about this. But let me ask you in a nutshell, what's your beef with what she had to say?
It's not about beef. It's about...
it's about pork?
It's about interrogating scenarios that people, come up with when they are faced with, electoral engagements. You capture it very eloquently from your intro. You see, you don't concentrate energy and attention on the candidate that you feel will help deliver your own aspiration in a way, and abandoning the party or jettisoning the party or not, putting in enough interest in what goes on within the party, particularly internal democracy of parties. You see, people tend to miss the point that political parties are vehicles for recruiting leadership. The candidate you talked about must pass through that political vehicle of a party as contained in our 1999 Constitution. So if you leave the party, you go for the candidate. If the party is not wholesome, if it's not healthy, you don't expect the party to produce a candidate that will meet your aspirations. So people tend to miss the point. Political parties in Nigeria must deliberately and consciously be reformed. They must also try as much as possible to promote internal democracy so that those who are coming to run elections under such parties will be seen to have fulfilled all the requirements.
But let me come in there, because she said very clearly that there isn't internal democracy in the parties, and yet these parties give Nigerians the people that govern them. Those were her words. So she talked about populating those parties with people who will ensure that the best, not the worst, those were her exact words, fill the ranks of the political parties.
But on the other hand, she told you that she wasn't a member of any party.
Yeah,
she isn't a member of any party.
No, well,
you see, the point is this.
She said she affiliated herself with the Labour Party.
She affiliated
herself
with the candidate of the Labour Party.
Yeah, well, by extension, she affiliated with the Labour Party.
He's just trying to be clever by half.
No, that's what
Charles,
you said.
Yeah, I said she's just trying to be clever by half. Charles, you see, I had raised concerns about Labour Party recently. I said Labour Party cannot be going through this kind of crisis, internal crisis, and they had a candidate in the 2023 election who had told Nigerians that it's got what it takes to lead the country. So if your party is having crisis, the onus should be on him to sit the party down and try to resolve the crisis.
Yeah, but her argument, let me make her argument, and then you can, obviously I'm not a spokesman for her, but we need to balance the conversation. Her argument is that Peter Obi, who she supported, is just an ordinary card-carrying member of the Labour Party. He's not a member of the NWC, he's not a member of the executive, he's not a member of anything like that, and therefore he has to try and allow the process of democracy to run its course within the party without being seen to exert influence to sway the party one way or another. That's her
So,
central
so
argument.
if you are charting the course of reconciliation, does that mean you are asserting your influence?
No.
If a man who is just an ordinary member of the party joined the party at the time they have submitted their membership register to INEC and yet he got the ticket of the party, are you saying such a person does not...
I don't think that... I think a lot of people have made the point that there were overtures that were made. I mean, I can't determine the extent of those overtures because I'm not in the party, nor was I in the room when discussions were taking place. But there's been the suggestion that overtures were made with certain within certain circumscribed limits.
Overtures will always be made in politics. But Charles, we must own up to the responsibility of ensuring that we are able, to make our parties viable and sustainable in such a way that even internal democracy will be promoted.
Well, let me ask you.
You see, one point is, at one point, she accuses political parties of lacking ideology. She is not a member.
You're saying she accuses. That's a fact.
Yeah.
They lack ideology.
Yes. She's
right.
That she accuses. On the one hand. On the other hand, she wasn't. She hasn't been a member of any party. She supported Peter Obi in Labour Party. She supported Frank Wike Jr. in Afegbua.
But what's wrong with that?
That's already lacking in ideology.
She said that for her, it's about, in the current circumstances of Nigeria, and given the fact that elections were upon us, and that's an opportunity to try and get the right people in, she had to focus on the short-term gain, which is looking at the individual candidates rather than the longer-term issue of reforming a political party. And that's why she chose Frank Wike Jr., who's from Afegbua, and Peter Obi, who's from the Labour Party, because she thought they were the best candidates for the positions they were running for. What's wrong with that?
So where is the ideology in all of that? She's playing dual role.
She didn't say...
She's playing dual role. You see, Charles.
The issue of ideology doesn't arise in those circumstances.
Where does it arise?
It's about the quality. Parties have ideologies. People subscribe to the ideologies of those parties.
Okay. So she is not subscribing to any ideology. She is just candidate specific.
Well, in the circumstances that Nigeria finds itself, where she's not going to be able to wave a magic wand and the political parties will have ideologies. In those very limiting circumstances, what she can do, given that elections were upon Nigerians, is to try and say, let me find the right candidate in these circumstances. I don't see anything wrong with that at all.
I listened to her very well yesterday, Charles. And you see, it's very easy for people to try to wear the moralist toga when they don't possess one. Because it's easy to condemn politicians. It's easy to condemn political parties. But we have forgotten that these politicians and the political parties are the same individuals who will be voted for to represent at different categories of leadership.
Well,
and now, a woman who is a civil rights activist, the way you describe her.
A political campaigner.
A political campaigner and all of that. Accuses party of not having ideology. Herself, she doesn't have ideology because you can't be supporting Afegbua candidate, you can't be supporting Labour Party candidate, and you want to preach ideology to me. You get my point. You must hold on to your views. No. And the views must be defined within the parameters of either the candidate you support or the political party.
Well, that's it. The candidate she supports. You've made that point.
Yes, and the political party.
It doesn't have to. What you
can't pick. See now.
But you've identified the fact that the political parties don't have any ideology.
You see, I have not used that word here. I'm referring to her. I'm telling you that they lack internal democracy. But you can't stay from the outside and be condemning parties of not having internal democracy when you are not participating and trying to make the parties viable and ideologically based.
You could make the argument that her support of Peter Obi to become the leader of Nigeria, and by extension through the Labour Party, is her way of trying to bring that reformist attitude to not only the political party, but to the whole of Nigeria. Her point is that there is no incentive for the parties that are there right now to put forward credible candidates, that they prefer candidates that they can control and candidates who wouldn't have a problem with corruption. And let me make this point, because you yourself ran for governor of Edo State. I mean, they held the primaries in your party, the APC, and you yourself came out and absolutely condemned that primary. You called it a rape of democracy. So in those circumstances, why would you not see how someone else would understand or would, not give credence to those parties or give support?
No, you see, there's a difference between my status and her. She's not a member of APC, for example. I say she's not a member of a Labour Party. So whatever goes on in Labour Party, she shouldn't even have any
okay, let me just ask you, I apologize for interrupting you.
No, sorry.
Let me just interrupt you for a minute. Let's play the clip from her and then we'll come back to you. You can pick up at the end of her clip. Let's listen to it because we've got it now.
We need to have people that would ensure that the best are the ones that are fielded,
but obviously
not the worst.
You were willing to work within the machinery of the Labour Party because Peter Obi was the presidential candidate. So you couldn't have supported him in isolation from the Labour Party.
So when you say I don't know whether it's really within the machinery, because I was his supporter. I worked with him. So I wasn't really in the machinery of but of course, because Peter Obi was running under Labour, yes, I did support Labour and other candidates whom I felt, their competence, they had the competence, character, capacity to lead. There hasn't been any opposition in Nigeria since 2015. And even up to now, there's no opposition.
Yeah, but Peter Obi is part of that opposition.
Yes, no, the party isn't doing anything. The party that he's Mr. Peter Obi is part of, he's really not playing opposition. It's just there. I don't know what they're doing. But Mr. Peter Obi himself, he is playing the opposition. So he's literally almost as if he's that lone voice who is, playing that opposition within the political space. But the party that he belongs to, no, they haven't played opposition at all. They failed Nigerians, absolutely. And, it was the fact that opposition had failed Nigeria. That was why Nigerians were looking for an alternative. And they went on with Labour Party.
Your response to that? Okay, it's a guffaw, is it?
No, you see, it boils down to the same thing I was saying earlier. You don't behave like a chichidodo bird, very beautiful bird that feeds on maggot but doesn't like the smell of feces. and so you,
I like that.
So you grab Peter Obi, who is a product of that faces, so to speak, politically, from a Labour Party that is not organized, no ideology, not everything. You supported him.
So you would have preferred it if you supported someone?
No, the point must be made. My underpinning argument is that she has to bring in her experience to bear in the political process to help to change the system.
But that's what she was trying to do.
To change the system
the right person who is a reformer.
You need to build a platform to be viable, solid, and credible platform.
Okay.
Because these political parties produce candidates.
Right.
When they lack internal democracy, whoever they produce, they might be by way of imposition, which should naturally go against our own belief system.
Okay.
So why would you now, you supported Peter Obi from Labour Party, you supported somebody from Afegbua, and you accuse politicians of not having ideology.
Okay.
Are you also supporting
we're probably going to come back to this point in a minute. But let me ask you this, because we're not actually deviating from it, but I'm trying to go around the corners of the picture in order to get back to the center of the picture. Let's turn to you and your political ambitions. What happened to your ambition to become the next governor of Edo State? Because the last time you were here with me, you were quite literally chomping at the bit.
Thank you very much, Charles. Unlike those who will condemn godfatherism in politics, I was one person who came here, asked you to help me search for one godfather. You get the point?
I think I remember.
You remember? Yeah. I told you, I needed a godfather who would be able to champion some of my aspirations.
Did you find one?
I couldn't find one. And so I was.
Well, there was a rumor that
thrown under the box.
The Senator Shimole, the former governor, was your godfather.
No, he's not. He isn't my godfather. He's my leader.
He refused to be your godfather.
No, he is my leader. He refused to be my godfather because, according to him, he dissected the political dynamics of Edo State and told me clearly that because the serving minister is from my local government, that he won't be able to produce a candidate from my local government to sell to Edo people.
But that's the point we were making to you.
I saw reason in that.
Right.
I didn't push further.
Right.
And I, honorably pulled back because for me, and my aspiration was not a matter of do or die, kind of. Since I was told that and I saw myself that, some of these sentiments play out in politics.
Yeah.
So I respected myself.
But you refused to accept that when we put that point to you here.
That what?
Well, the fact that you were from the wrong part of
Yes, because I was connected with the people. Right. I was reaching out to the people. I was going to meet them. I campaigned around the local government. But when the leaders of the party sat down and said, no, come, gentlemen, you are 29 of you. One person will emerge, whether you like it or not. So in such kind of situation, I wouldn't want to drag my luck too far and say that I must insist.
But as is totally typical with Nigerian elections, allegations emerged of manipulation after that APC primary in Edo State ended. And of course it ended in dispute. And given your very strong statements against the APC, and your words were, a rape of democracy, that's what you called the primary that took place in Edo State. Do you still have confidence in your party, the APC?
Well, I wasn't the candidate that was.
It doesn't matter.
I'm
referred to that primary as a rape of democracy.
I don't mince my words.
Right.
When the primary started, don't forget that we had two primaries. The first one, they said it was inconclusive and all of that. And as an insider, as a player and all of that, I saw all that transpired. And so I felt that the now deputy governorship candidate was shortchanged. That's where I felt. And the young man said he was going to pursue his case to a logical conclusion, seeking legal redress.
Right.
And I was very much with him because I don't know how to pretend to be supporting this and supporting that. So I was open.
So you've got principles.
Of course. Yeah. So open. I supported
and your
him.
Principles told you that it was a rape of democracy.
Of course.
Right.
It was,
so my question remains, do you still have confidence in your party, the APC,
because the party...
if it rapes democracy so blatantly in the way that you put it?
Wait, my response is very simple. Charles, after the primaries, the young man went to court, challenged the whole process and all of that. But before the court started, the party leadership used its own internal mechanism to rein in everybody, spoke to us, and
so they brought you in and rubbed your head.
Appeal to us. You can't take that away from democracy because it has to do with constructive engagement.
But wrong is wrong.
Collective bargaining.
Wrong is wrong.
In parties, what is wrong in my side might be right because it favors you. Yeah, that is the truth.
Like that. But people have to be driven by their own principles.
You see, I don't know. Okay, would you have expected that I should just pull out of the party?
No, it's not my expectation. I'm asking you.
So that I'm telling you, I said the leaders of the party called us, rein us in, and spoke to us.
So you're happy to wallow in the same feces that you were condemning earlier. You're happy to wallow in that rape of democracy.
You know why I can? You know why I can?
Because they called you and said to you, "Hey, calm down."
No. You know why I could speak in this manner?
Right.
Because I'm a partaker. I'm a participant in the internal democracy process.
Right.
But an outsider in a party cannot just come on TV and say that, there was rape of democracy. Well, you are not a participant.
But you said it.
Because I'm a participant.
I'm quoting you.
You are not getting me. I'm a participant.
I'm not saying it's a rape. I'm saying you said
I said, I'm a participant. I was a participant. I'm still a participant. And I saw the dynamics of what transpired. So I could own up to the point that I've made. But an outsider that is supporting Peter Obi, who came up from a Labour Party that didn't even carry out any internal
Okay,
democracy.
let me ask you this, because we've only got like a minute and a half left. A minute, in fact, before...
You are giving me like 40, 50 minutes to discuss
I
this
know, you
matters.
always say that.
Yes.
What's next politically for you?
What's next? No, the new elections are coming. I would love any process that to ensure that Governor Baseki does not produce a successor. That's the PDP, because he was one person who condemned godfatherism, and now he's playing the role of one, such a hypocritical, realness. And so for me, I'll rather people speak the obvious in politics than try to circumnavigate when they know that the reality that stares us in the face stays. You can't take away godfatherism in politics. I don't know whether it is in this generation, but in another generation, we still continue.
Okay, I wish we had time, because I
that
would
is
have
one.
wanted to
Secondly,
talk. No, we haven't got time for that second bit. I really apologize.
We will trans Obaseki and his candidate.
Okay, you've
Come
made that
September
point.
21st.
If we had time, I would have asked you about what's going on in Rivers State. Unfortunately, we haven't got the time.
It is the same interplay of Godfather and Godson.
Come back and talk to us.
Godfather, Godson.
Kassim Afegbua is a political commentator, former Edo State Commissioner of Information, and former Edo State governorship aspirant. Always brilliant talking with you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye, and thank you for watching.